All right, folks, we have the Q2 2024 Ripple Markets Report, and this is so important. Ripple, industry leading in their transparency. They're reporting on their business, the growth in the XRP ecosystem, and their XRP holdings. So in this video, I'm going to cover their market report. I want to get started off here, though, with just kind of an update on where we're at in the broader, macro economy and our markets. So Kobesi Letter giving us a quick summary here, and then we'll get into the market report. Our current situation. Stocks are falling like we are entering a recession. Gold prices are falling like nothing is wrong. Bonds are rising like rate cuts are on the way. What quick data point though, gold is actually holding up pretty well, still above 2,400. So although gold has come back down in the past couple of days, it's still already recovered pretty well this week and is holding its own very well. I just have to add that. Bonds are rising like rate cuts are on the way. Oil prices are rising like rate cuts got canceled. Crypto is falling like we are in a bear market. Housing prices are rising like we are in a bull market. Okay, wait, no, hold up. Headline housing prices are rising like we are in a bull market because across the board, the median average, what you're seeing is that the higher end homes are selling and moving, and the amount of homes and volume and activity on the lower end isn't there. And so it's a discrepancy in the average home price continues to go up. Meanwhile, every other metric is coming down as far as volume, mortgage demand, and everything else. And so there is a lot of confusion. There's a lot of nuance in the data. And that's why I try to break this down every single day for you guys, talking about the current events, the markets, and then looking at crypto. You guys are here for the Q2 market report, so I want to get right on into it. But the point being, there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of uncertainty. And when I hone in on this XRP story, I check our fundamental thesis. I look at the technicals. The technicals are solid. We just bounced off major support. Although we're coming down, we're still really solid, still set to explode, and I'm fine with that. But on the fundamental basis, this just continues to expand, continues to grow, and I'm going to take advantage of every opportunity they give me on these dips to scoop up, to load up, and be very happy and content because our thesis is unchanged. Our thesis as actually, the conviction has grown and strengthened because of the transparency that Ripple is providing, not only in these market reports, but with the additional investments and everything else that they've been doing. They've been industry leading in their transparency. They're now being called to the White House, called to Ro Khanna's White Table. They're being called to the Treasury. They're being called to the U.S. Faster Payments Task Force. They're being called by dozens of other central banks, hundreds of other institutions. I could go on and on about who's trying to work with Ripple, the biggest and best in the world of finance. And now we're starting to see that despite the market and the activity slowing down over this past quarter, the institutional DeFi and the utilities being added to the XRP ledger is setting this up for a bullish case and price action to follow after that ruling from Judge Torres. And then we're going to be set free. And then folks are going to wake up and realize not only can XRP appreciate in price, but it also has some utility that folks don't even realize. Folks don't know we have NFTs. Folks don't know we have an AMM. Folks don't know we're about to get price oracles, which is critical for DeFi and institutional access to these products. We did get listed on the CME markets as well, the CME index this past week. And then we also are getting multi-purpose tokens. So not only do we have NFTs, nobody knows that we have NFTs, but we're about to get multi-purpose tokens as well. Ripple stablecoin, there's a lot to cover. I'm going to try to go through this briefly, skimming over the best parts of this Q2 2024 XRP markets report. Quick side point. I really wish that they still provided the on-demand liquidity volume and the transactions there. They're no longer reporting that. Everything's now Ripple payments, and so there is no update on ODL, and they don't mention any new corridors that got fired up in particular in this update. But there is some critical things that I do want to show you guys, so let's get right on into it. This is from Team Ripple. Love how they just do this every single quarter. And as always, they start off here going through the broader cryptocurrency space. We got the ETH ETFs. One interesting data point is they note that Bitcoin is more correlated. The correlation to the S&P 500 climbed to 0.4 over this period after being at 0.2 during Q4 of 23 and Q1 of 2024. So what's happening is that Bitcoin's more closely trading with the stock market. And what's the stock market doing right now? Correcting. As I've been saying, correction before the election. Watch out. We're watching it right now, aren't we? Flight to quality occurring with a tendency that the industry saw smaller cap tokens experience drawdowns up to 70%, while top 10 market cap tokens fared better. That's what's important to understand right now, guys, is that the real pump and dumps in this space are going to zero. The real fraud's going to zero. We're still going through bankruptcy processes, and they mentioned that in this next post about how we're still dealing with Mt. Gox legal battles, German government being required to sell their Bitcoin, and then the Bitcoin halving in April, along with pressure from distributions related to Mt. Gox and Germany as well, too. So they note that, and that's all been added to the macroeconomic situation and the bad economic data coming out that's brought down all of the markets. And as Bitcoin remains more correlated to the stock market, I would expect more. Now, they speak on the lawsuit. Obviously, we marked the 1-year anniversary on July 13th. That day was overshadowed by the event with Donald Trump, of course. But this is important right here. They mentioned that back in 2018, Ripple was first sued in a class action lawsuit in California. And in June, the California court dismissed all of the claims based on both the federal and state laws. There is one state law claim that the plaintiff has brought as an individual rather than as a class claim that was not dismissed, but this individual claim is not material. I love that response. But this individual claim is not material, just straight to the point, right? We're easily going to be able to defeat that one. Moving on into the global regulatory developments, they speak about how they've now contributed $50 million to Fairshake, which is actually one of the biggest investments towards Fairshake and in the entire cryptocurrency space. So Ripple is putting money into DC, and I love to see it. I love to see it because no matter who gets elected, we want to make sure that we're positioned accordingly, and Ripple and Team Brad Garlinghouse are making sure that they're at the table, that they're directing this policy, they're directing the conversation, and they're going to be waiting to roll this out and implement it and flip that switch once we get it set. Of course, they mention Consensus looking to sue the SEC, asking the federal court to find whether or not Consensus acted as a broker or issued securities through its software offering of MetaMask swaps and staking, which is important because it's like they know, hey, we got clarity. They start off talking about the lawsuits. We got clarity. We got class action lawsuits being completely dismissed. We're still throwing 50M around, $50 million. We're still throwing money around. Meanwhile, what's happening in ETH world? What's happening in Consensus? Well, they're battling it out. Their battles are just now beginning. Remember the free pass fake out. Despite the SEC dropping their investigation into ETH 2.0 and the merge, Consensus still went ahead with this lawsuit, and so that's still ongoing. Then they go on to note how basically everywhere else in the world is adopting new regulations, right? Everybody's pushing forward while we're still playing around in the US, battling Operation Choke Point. And they highlight here, they give a special shout out to Circle becoming the first global stablecoin issuer to fully comply with the micro-regulatory framework by obtaining an EMI license from the Bank of France Prudential Supervision and Resolution Authority. Micro rules for other crypto assets will be implemented in December of 2024. So the stablecoins have gone live. The rest of the crypto assets will be implemented by the end of this year. And that is fantastic to see. Around the world, we look, the UAE moving, Latin America, Brazil moving, Hong Kong, Monetary Authority, all moving, US still suing. Everybody else is moving. US, we're suing. Very unfortunate. But it's interesting to note that they highlight Circle becoming the first global stablecoin issuer, and we're going to be talking more later about how Ripple is getting ready to launch their stablecoin as well. Deep dive into the XRP markets, and this is, like I said, they no longer are reporting the on-demand liquidity volumes and flows, and they no longer even talk about it in return, in regards of ODL. Now it's all just Ripple payments. Okay. And they talk about how XRP remained, rather stable in the second half of Q2. Yep. Major token prices and volume. They know, it's basically down across the board for every major token. And then they do note that, you got three exchanges here, Binance, Bybit, and Upbit, were responsible for well over 65% of the total traded volume. And by far, the majority of XRP trading activity is still currently against USDT. And they note, if you compare the spot trading volume, fiat versus stablecoins, stablecoins is still by and large the preferred method for trading on these exchanges and on the DEX as well too. So folks, once again, we're still waiting for more fiat on-ramps to arrive. In the meantime, USDT Tether is the dominant, and we're seeing other stablecoins too far outweigh the trading volume of fiat. Now, as far as the state of the XRP ledger, they note how Acceler is now going to be in charge of the EVM sidechain. So instead of XLS 38D, which is one of the amendments that's being considered right now, instead of that amendment passing, it's likely that it won't, because now they've chosen Acceler to basically be the bridge. Partnering with Acceler leverages their proven expertise and related sidechain benefits while providing a secure and efficient bridge for users. Acceler can also be used to bridge other fungible tokens to and from the XRP Ledger mainnet, as well as from more than 55 blockchains in the Acceler network. So to say that they're known for building bridges is kind of an understatement. They've already built 55. So that's going to be interesting. I'm still learning from the developers on how this will actually roll out and occur. Bridges typically are pain points for hacking and issues, and so we're going to have to watch that one closely, but it looks like Acceler is a trusted network with 55 blockchain bridges already built. Key amendments right now: oracles and multi-purpose token. Now, the oracles will provide institutions with access to reliable and accurate data feeds, enhancing the functionality of smart contracts in DeFi applications. Oracles is absolutely massive. This is how you bring off-chain data on-chain, right? What's the price of all these commodities? What's the price of any given assets? If you want to prove that something happened off-chain and then bring it back on-chain, you're going to need an oracle to do so. And Band Protocol and DIA are oracle providers for both XRP Ledger's mainnet and its EVM sidechain to enable decentralized oracle price feed data, ensuring real-time market data reliability and accessibility. Now, one further point on that is that you also could tap into Flare and you also could tap into Chainlink, right? They have their own oracle providers over there. And so if you felt comfortable using them as your oracles, you could. But we're also seeing Band Protocol and DIA. Sorry, I keep on wanting to say DAI. DIE. Sorry, DIA. Wow. Holy cow. Shout out to Digital Asset Investor. He's not one of the oracles for the network here, but one of the best. Band Protocol, DIA. You could also tap into Chainlink. You could also tap into Flare. And it's just massive that this is coming. Really big for institutions being able to get reliable data. And think about the new index, right, that was added on the CME. That's absolutely critical for providing real-time price metrics for XRP. Set to be released in Q3, the multi-purpose token standard will allow for the creation of complex token structures that can represent a variety of assets and rights using metadata, which will be valuable for institutions looking to tokenize and manage diverse asset portfolios, ensuring efficient lifecycle management of digital assets. Multi-purpose token is a token standard that will be natively available on the XRP Ledger with several capabilities that developers can directly access using simple APIs from the XRP Ledger libraries. Love it, love it, love it. Now, Q2 saw the announcement that Archax, a digital asset exchange broker and custodian regulated by the UK FCA, is expected to bring hundreds of millions of dollars to tokenized real-world assets onto the XRP Ledger over the coming year. So they're bringing hundreds of millions. We saw and reported on it a couple of days ago how we got tokenized T-bills coming to the XRP Ledger, and Ripple's going to be funding $10 million into that one. Ripple also just announced their first investment in Korea, and they note here building with the XRP Ledger community. Ripple announced a fund dedicated to providing support in Japan and Korea for a range of initiatives, and they already have made that first investment. First of many to come. They got 1 billion XRP that they're looking to fund over there in Japan and Korea. That's absolutely massive. Now moving on over into Ripple USD. They've announced the plan. We know from Brad Garlinghouse that they have a plan to go live in Q3. This will be backed by US dollar deposits, short-term US government treasuries, and other cash equivalents. The reserve will be audited by a third-party accounting firm, and Ripple will publish monthly attestations. And they go on to note that while XRP is the native token on the XRP Ledger, the XRP Ledger was built to support any type of asset. It was built for all the money, right? Any sort of asset issued to trade on the DEX and quickly settle anywhere in the world with low transaction costs. Bringing credible assets on the DEX, such as Ripple USD, will drive numerous benefits for users, developers, and apps. And that's the critical thing. I've been talking about it. Bringing credible assets on the DEX, bringing responsible issuers to the XRP Ledger, right? We want folks that we can trust, folks that we can rely on, folks that bring credible assets to the XRP Ledger DEX. Then you will start to see the DEX activity pick up. Until then, we're all holding our XRP. We don't trust 90% of people in the cryptocurrency space. We think that 99% of crypto is going away. So we will not be trading our reserve currency for some piece of crap that's been put on the XRP Ledger. Just because it's on the XRP Ledger doesn't mean anything. We need to know who the counterparty is. We need to know who the issuer is. And this is how we determine whether or not it is a credible asset that's been issued on our DEX. We already have thousands of pieces of crap on our XRP Ledger. Okay? Stay safe out there. So we're going to be watching that. The stablecoin will be available on the XRP Ledger and Ethereum blockchains. And I didn't know this, but they also have plans to expand to additional blockchains and DeFi protocols and apps over time. Massive. Now for the on-chain activity, it's down. It's down quarter on quarter. Transactions down 65%. XRP burn down 22%. Interesting to note though, remember, XRP is getting burned every single day. In Q1, it was 636,000 XRP. In Q2, it's 495,000. When you compare that to the 100 billion supply, it doesn't sound like much, but when you look at the metrics, over 10 million XRP have already been burned so far. And as the activity on-chain picks up and more XRP is being used, more XRP is being burned, it's only going to decrease that total supply from here. Average cost per transaction was up, and so was the average transaction in US dollars was also up. And I'm going to be looking into that further because I saw something about some validators were actually voting for higher fees. And so I got to see what happened on that and why, what caused that average cost per transaction to go up 168%. But when you look, I mean, average cost per transaction in US dollars, it's still at not even 1/4 cent. So you're still talking, less than 1/4 cent. Incredible, incredibly cheap. Volume on DEX in US dollars is down 42%. So of course, just a lot less activity on all blockchains, and that was no exception for the XRP Ledger. As far as trust lines, we only got a loss of about 0.6%. So we still have quite a few trust lines there. And the number of new wallets, the growth was down. We only got 100,000 new wallets, but we still got 100,000 new wallets, right? Compared to Q1, where we did get 185,000. Both of those numbers are down, but I'm expecting that to pick up. That'll pick up with price appreciation. A lot of people come in and out of XRP. I call them fair weather fans, and it's starting to get more popular to be a fan of XRP and talk about XRP and the bullish potential. And so I expect those wallets to pick up along with on-chain activity. Now, to finalize this Q2 market report, they give us the XRP holdings. And remember, they have two categories: XRP that is currently available in Ripple's wallets, and XRP that is subject to the on-ledger escrow lockups that will be released each month over the next 42 months. Now, what we see here, the change from March 31st to June 30th, from Q1 to Q2, is now Ripple's escrow holdings are less than 40 billion. So 39.5 billion is what Ripple holds in the escrow. And they have 4.6 billion outside of the escrow, bringing their total to about 44.1 billion XRP is the total amount that Ripple has. Now, if I do some quick math, right, XRP is at 56 cents right now as we're recording this. And so, very simply, their bag of XRP, if we're just rounding off and making the math simple, right, is well over $20 billion, right? Well over $20 billion. And what gets interesting about this, as I've said in the past, is that the largest IPO ever done was Saudi Aramco at 25.6 billion. Ripple's bag of XRP is pretty much worth that much. So will Ripple have the largest IPO ever? We will see. Only time will tell. But in the meantime, I love the industry-leading transparency from Ripple. And despite some of these metrics being down, despite price being down, focus in on the institutional DeFi that's expanding and the utilities that are being added to the ledger. While all this price action is not as hot, the activity and the adoption and the growth from an institutional perspective is as good as it gets. And so my thesis remains strong. You guys let me know in the comments down below what you think. If you appreciate this update, please make sure to like this video, share it out far and wide, and I will see you guys in the next one. God bless you all. I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.